YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my Ravens 2021 NFL offseason rebuild. Doing this for every single team, done it for quite a few already. And yeah, we're going through the offseason in general. I play GM, making cuts, taking a look at the cap space situation, re-sign some players, and then dive into free agency in the NFL draft, look at the top targets, different scenarios, and fits here. So please subscribe to the channel. All kinds of different NFL offseason content. We'll have you covered through trades, rumors, free agency signings, and NFL draft full content. Follow our Twitter for breaking news, reaction to that news instantly. A bunch of polls keeping you guys involved in there as well. You see underneath me, walkthemock.com, a draft simulator that you could create your own lobbies, join live lobbies that are constantly going on, play GM for a team, draft against other users. It's very cool. If you're going to sign up, please use Goat House as your code there. Link in the comments, pin in the comments for anything that you need. Here's our Twitter, just constantly talking about the channel, NFL draft, what's going on around the NFL in the offseason. So check it out. And then here's a little cheat sheet with live cap space updates, potential cuts, potential savings, things like that. So yeah, there'll be a link in the comments for that as well. The Ravens. We're going to go ahead and trade Orlando Brown because I think that's happening. I had a whole video on the channel. You can look it up on Orlando Brown, potential landing spots, what different trades can look like. My prediction ended up being to Jacksonville for that 25th pick, but there's a lot of different places he can go. You can go to Washington, the Chargers, the Colts, teams like that. I don't know if those teams would trade their first. It could be a swap deal, swap a first-round pick. They may not get a first. It could be a second, multiple day twos. If it was me, I don't know if I would trade that first. But Jacksonville has so many picks. Orlando Brown, I think would be a fit and probably better than what they would get there for left tackle at the 25th pick. So. I thought that made sense. They would clear $920K there, so not a whole bunch of savings there, but you get a pretty good pick. Restructure some contracts because we do need to clear some space. They're starting at around $25 million. Restructured Marcus Peters contract, and this isn't a pay cut. We're taking some money, pushing it back, paying it in the future. So both players right around very close to the same exact savings here, 5.23. According to how I restructured it, which I think that's going to be a pretty accurate number if they do restructure. And then same goes for Ronnie Stanley, 5.21. So it was kind of crazy that they both ended up right at the same number there. So clears a little bit of space because teams that are desperate to clear space or teams that could afford to because they're trying to win right now, the Ravens, it works out doing something like that. We need to re-sign some players. We're at around $36 million after the trade and the restructures. Didn't have any major cuts. There's some veterans they can cut. I think they want to kind of keep the band together. And you'll see a list of edge rushers here. You may say, maybe if you don't know who's a free agent, what's going on with the Ravens roster, you may say, do they need to bring this many edge rushers back? Do they need this many edge rushers? And the answer is yes, because these are their edge rushers. Keep in mind, Matthew Judon is a free agent. I'm going to let him walk. He hasn't been super productive. He's a good player, but I think it's going to cost too much. Yannick Ngakoue, you trade for him. The guy has a lot of upside. If he just sticks with the good team and you keep on going at it with him, he's going to get really good. He's willing to play on the tag, so I just tag him. I would like for them to get him back, for sure. Tyus Bowser was a really good rotation edge rusher for them, actually. Maybe I shouldn't say really good, but as a rotation guy, he was pretty good dropping in coverage as an edge rusher, which is pretty important to the Ravens scheme because they blitz their inside linebackers and even safeties a ton. So their edge rushers got to be able to, get pressure on the quarterback, but they got to be pretty versatile. They got to be able to drop back. And I think Bowser's got some upside there. And then Pernell McPhee, he's getting up there in age, but he was a very important guy as well because he was more of the run-stopping edge rusher, really good at, almost stunts at times or, crash in the inside, crash in the middle, but a very knowledgeable veteran. So I think they could use all these guys back because they're going to, as we sit, they have no edge rushers. We got Ferguson maybe, and that's about it. Ngakoue is that big-time starter. I think Bowser and McPhee are key rotation guys, which are important. I'm sure they would love to have Gus Bus back, the running back to keep on with J.K. Dobbins, of course, pretty good duo. Probably can get him back on the cheaper side. And Devontae Harris, a solid, I think, rotation or backup cornerback that got some reps last year. So I think you'd like to have him back cheaper. Obviously they're fine in terms of their starting corners. They got the best duo in football easily. So this actually shouldn't cost too much here. It's a long list of players. Ngakoue's going to get the tag. That's a little pricey, but then after that, it's on the cheaper side, so you're still going to have some money. Then they go into free agency in the draft and some targets I like for them. Allen Robinson I like. I don't want, that's a guy that I'm a little scared somebody might overpay for, and he could be tagged and traded. Would I trade pieces for him, which would be less than his value because tag and trade, usually the team, if teams are in that position, they have to trade him. It almost feels like they're losing leverage. I'm starting to hear that the Bears might not even tag him, which would be, that's a whole different debate. They would just lose out on some things there. But, yeah, I don't know how much he wants. I would be hesitant to pay in that $18 million or more range. I probably wouldn't do that. But I think it'd be a really good fit with the Ravens, and it would boost their receiving core for sure. Enough messing around with the maybe receivers. Go get a guy that we know can play. And they're going to need a center. Center play was atrocious last year. David Andrews from the Patriots is a free agent, and that could be an option in this scenario. And yes, another edge rusher because you might be looking for another starter opposite of Yannick Ngakoue because Judon is gone. Remember, Bowser, McPhee, cheaper, good rotation options. So getting a guy like Kerrigan I think is a really good fit. I think you'd start opposite in Ngakoue, and it's a pretty damn good front seven then right here. So I like these options. Then you go into the draft. This was tough to do because this is kind of banking on them getting a pretty good pick, like I predicted Jacksonville's pick, with Orlando Brown. Getting Tevin Jenkins to replace Orlando Brown is a really good fit. I also like Jalen Mayfield from Michigan as a really good fit. He might be gone. Tevin Jenkins, power blocker, fits their power scheme, their gap scheme. So I like him at right tackle. And Landon Dickerson, who, again, we might be getting, this might be their own pick here in this scenario, who could be a late first, could go into the second. But, yeah, potential starting center in the future because David Andrews might be a one-year deal, but also can play guard at a very high level. Either way, he's going to be starting right away for a team like the Ravens. So your offensive line actually got better here, and the offensive line didn't match what it was, in 2019. So you're keeping Lamar protected. You're boosting the run game as well. And then a potential Derek Wolfe replacement, which they do have Matt Ibuke, who we're looking forward to watching as well. No guarantees there. You kind of want to get, a couple options here. So Davion Nixon, who kind of can play that D tackle role, get some pressure on the quarterback, and he's solid stop and run as well. So I think that's a pretty good fit there. We go into option two. In option two, we're going for that right tackle in free agency. I keep mentioning Darrell Williams. If he's not tagged, there's going to be a bidding war for him, and you see why. I have him as a lot of teams' options here in a lot of these videos because teams just don't want to mess around with a mediocre right tackle. You want the guy, and I keep mentioning Taylor Moton's probably the best one right there at Darrell Williams. Taylor Moton's probably going to get franchise tagged. He'll be back with the Panthers. Darrell Williams could be very easily tagged or back with the Bills, but I think teams are going to be after him. And if the Ravens don't want to risk in the draft, hoping a guy like Mayfield or Jenkins will be there, or, they don't want to deal with the rookie, then maybe they want to go big at the tackle position, and they may want to go real big at the center position because, some teams don't really value center that much. They'll get a third, fourth round guy, maybe second, maybe a cheap guy in free agency, and they'll be fine. The Ravens, learned the hard way, and, maybe center's a little more important, so I can see them viewing it as a high priority and we're okay spending at it situation. So Corey Linsley, who is that top option, which I think teams that need that center will be after him. So there could be a bidding war for him as well. So they can kind of just spend their money on offensive line because it is very important. And then get a guy, again, to kind of mix in there with Matt Ibuke. Matt Ibuke probably, best case ends up being a rotation guy still a little raw prospect. Sheldon Rankins, who's very good if he's healthy. So a lot of upside here, can kind of fill that role there. Then you go into the draft, you're desperately going to need receivers. Rashad Bateman is kind of that younger Allen Robinson, maybe quicker with his feet, a little better separation actually. A little bit of a version of that, though. So you get a guy like Rashad Bateman, who I like a lot. And then, again, in this scenario, we got 2 first-round picks. I think Ojulari is a really good fit as an edge rusher because he can drop in coverage if you need to, and he's really good at getting after the quarterback. So it potentially could be him and Ngakoue starting with, again, McPhee and Bowser as key rotation guys. And sometimes they would have 3 rushers. McPhee would kind of be a roaming type edge rusher, maybe not really an edge rusher. So, yeah, it's going to be important to them. And then Amari Rodgers, I think, would be a good fit as a receiver there. I think there's a guy that can be a plug-and-play guy. I think he can make an impact playing in the slot right away. So that'd be a pretty good pick for them here on day 2. So, yeah, again, a lot of these fits make a lot of sense to me. It just depends on what direction they're going to go in. Are they going to focus on receiver and free agency, or they want to complete the offensive line? Or what about their pass rushers? Do they want to dig themselves a hole and let a lot of those guys walk? So that's going to be interesting. What if they don't get, they got to get at least one of those edge rushers back? That might be a problem too. So we'll see what they do. It definitely, each team has something very interesting to watch for, and it's, Orlando Brown comes to mind with the trade, but those edge rushers, they don't want to dig themselves a hole because they got to fix their offensive line, retune it, and receiver position at the same time. So we'll see what happens with the Ravens. Definitely could be a championship team if they do it right here. So can't wait to see what they do there. So did this for a whole lot of teams. Almost done. Got some more teams to go. We're doing every team. Full NFL offseason content. All kinds coming out nonstop. So join us for that. Subscribe, smash that like button. Check out those links in the comments. Very important down there. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.